are going to crash. They're going to drop as much as 60, 70%. Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. Exactly what happened in dot-com days is going to repeat itself. Remember, 85% of people lose money in the stock market because they don't know when to get out. I fixed that with my color code technology chart. It tells you when to buy, when to sell, when to add, and when to run like hell. That's right. Make sure you check it out. It's free for 10 days. philsgang.com.
When the stock market is volatile, how do you invest intelligently?
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. There's no need for you to be panicking in a market that goes up 800 points one day, 700 points, then it goes down again. All you need is good advice, you need good direction. You don't get that from your CNBC and the Fox business and all these crazy shows. You don't. Here's what you get from them. Thank you, Jim Cramer. But this is something that this really bugs me. Listen to this.
Our responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
What? Their responsibility is to their partners and shareholders and not to you? Check my site out, philsgang.com.
When the stock market is up one day and down the next, you need the experience of Phil Grandy at philsgang.com.
What a difference it makes in your financial life. philsgang.com. It works.
Want good investing advice from someone you can trust? Listen to Phil Grandy.
With what's going on today in the economy, especially in the stock market, it gets really complicated, but it doesn't have to be. My job is to make it simple, to get through the fog. And I think I do that, and I think I do a pretty good job of that, especially why you should be buying a stock, or why you should be in the market, or not in the market, or shorting.
Invest wisely with the knowledge of Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. When you listen to the advice of Phil Grandy at philsgang.com, you'll find investing in the stock market makes sense with the right guidance.
People keep saying to me, boy, things are hard, things are tough. Boy, the market's really screwed up. And I don't agree with them. For us here at Phil's Gang, we make it so it's simple. It doesn't matter if the market's bad or good. We consistently do well because we make it simple. And just like for my listeners on the radio or on the internet or my podcast, we make it simple. We try to break it down so you really understand why the market is going up, or why there's continued inflation, or why the bank rates are going up. So you understand, especially yields. The most important thing to understand how yields work. Just what we do. We work hard at it.
Trusted advice, easy to understand strategies that will make you a better investor. Get all the details at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grandy.
The bottom line is the economy is doing better. Disinflation is happening. Soft landing is coming into vision. All of that is good news.
That's a lot of nuts!
And boy, is that a lot of nuts. Welcome to Phil's Gang, coast to coast around the country. And off the Wall Street Radio Network, the market's down 237 points to Dow. So, yesterday and this morning, remember yesterday I said when everybody started to switch over from tech to value stocks, I said it's not going to work. Because for 13 years, people have been able to buy tech stocks and called growth stocks and make a tremendous amount of money. They didn't have to worry about earnings. They didn't need to have earnings. All they needed was a Federal Reserve that would print and print and print until they went nuts. Just take all that money, give it to the CEOs. CEOs go in and they just buy their own shares. And when they keep reducing the amount of shares, then what would happen is earnings would go up, push profits up. Without earnings, the stock price would go up. That's why for 13 years, think about it, the market went up. You take the tech stocks, 1,200% because they didn't need earnings. In fact, our earnings, we got the worst earnings right now that we haven't seen earnings this bad in 25 years. They're terrible. But when you can buy tech stocks because the Fed will go in and print as much money as they need to hand the CEOs and to buy their own shares. What else do you need? That went on for 13 years, called QE. But now when you switch over to value stocks, you can't do that. Look at Honeywell. The biggest reason why we got a 225-point drop in the Dow is because Honeywell's down big. You just can't go in and give Honeywell free money and tell them to go buy their own stock back. It doesn't work that way. It's a value stock. You gotta have real earnings. But the tech stocks, you don't. I mean, look, even Apple, for God's sakes. Apple. Negative revenues. Are you kidding me? Never mind profits. So again, it was just a great. It was just great. But you have to pay for that. Somewhere down the road, you have to pay for that inflation. And that's what you're seeing. You're going to see more of this. Remember, all of this printing of money creates inflation. And the way you fight inflation, you raise rates. And when you raise rates to fight inflation, then the dollar gets clobbered from fighting inflation. The dollar goes down. Now, here's the real problem. The dollar gets weaker, keeps going down, brings your stock market down, but at the same time, remember, we've been pushing rates up from 0 to 5, what are we now, 5.25, 550? 550. The problem with that, all the countries, I told you this yesterday, all the other countries, whether it's Japan or China or all Europe, their Fed rate is lower. So they're going to start dumping dollars. And the market's going to go down. See, every time we fight inflation, they're going to dump dollars, because every time we raise rates and our rate is higher than theirs, they dump dollars. So this is all coming. It's all coming. And if you just think about this, the clock always comes back to 12. Do you remember we had a rally right after the COVID crash? Remember the COVID crash between, it was February of 2020 to March of 2020. The market dropped 32%, but it had nothing to do with COVID. They lied. It had nothing to do with COVID. That's not why it crashed, because they raised rates to 2.5%. In the market, remember, we have the biggest debt. We have the biggest deficits. I mean, are you kidding me? People don't understand the debt we're carrying. People don't understand the deficits we're carrying. And deficits kill you because you got to pay them off. You got to pay them. You can't carry them. So by the time we went from 2008 and we hit 2020, and inflation started to go up, they lied to us and said, oh, no, we don't have any inflation. It's transitory. Don't worry about it. They raised rates, and boom, market went right down 32%. Oh, no, that's COVID. No, it wasn't COVID. Then what'd they do? They turned around and they dropped their rates back to 0. Big mistake. But the market rallied 114%. Now, remember, when the market rallied from March of 2020 to January of 2022, during those 2 years, went up 114%. We had the same exact problems when the market dropped during COVID from February 2020 to March 2020. That 32% drop, all those problems that caused that drop were still in place when they rallied the market up 114%. All they did is drop rates to zero, and they rallied up the market 114%. But we had the same exact problems that we have today. Debt, deficits, are you kidding me? See, this is the problem. And then what happened? On January 2022, the market dropped again to that infamous October low. Why? Because the same problems that we had in our what caused our, go back to the first crash, the one I predicted. I said this would be the first crash. That was in 2018. October, I think it was September 2018, somewhere there, December rather. So we dropped in 2018, we had a 20% drop. And then we had another drop of 32% after they rallied up. Then we dropped again, what they call COVID. That was 32%. Then we rallied up again, 114%. So every time the market would drop 20%, we'd rally it up. Then the market would drop again, 32%, and then we rally it up. And then the market dropped again, and we're in that rally again now. But here's a problem. Every one of those rallies, including the one we're in now, nothing's changed since the first crash of 2018. See, this is what people don't get. And why? Why don't they get it? Because we're lied to every day. Here's what we're hearing now. Do you remember this?
The Dow Jones Industrial Average is now riding a 12-day win streak, its longest in more than 6 years.
Wow, get you all excited? That's what they try to do. This was started yesterday, and this was this morning.
Stocks ended mostly lower on this Wednesday, though the Dow did extend a monstrous 12-day win streak to 13 straight days of gains. This is the longest win streak since 1987.
Are you kidding? They did the same thing back in 2020. I'll explain it when I get back. Put your helmet on.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
I believe that every single human being with a laptop computer and an internet connection should be required to give trading at least a shot.
Following Phil, his charting system has really been a huge impact on my career and my life.
I believe that every educated individual on planet Earth.
I would recommend Phil's Gang to the mom and pop out there. I would recommend it to parents teaching their children. I would recommend it to grandparents.
Should do this. It's not for every single human being on Earth. I know this, but it's one of those things that you should try, because if you happen to get it right, if you happen to be one of the ones that this is for.
Follow the money. Follow Phil Grandy.
Oh my God.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. That's right, philsgang.com. Join my gang for 10 days. It's free.
What's in front of you is a life of incredible joy, freedom, and independence.
Philsgang.com.
When you listen to the advice of Phil Grandy at philsgang.com, you'll find investing in the stock market makes sense with the right guidance.
People keep saying to me, boy, things are hard, things are tough. Boy, the market's really screwed up. And I don't agree with them. For us here at Phil's Gang, we make it so it's simple. It doesn't matter if the market's bad or good. We consistently do well because we make it simple. And just like for my listeners on the radio or on the internet or my podcast, we make it simple. We try to break it down so you really understand why the market is going up, or why there's continued inflation, or why the bank rates are going up. So you understand, especially yields. The most important thing to understand how yields work. Just what we do. We work hard at it.
Trusted advice, easy to understand strategies that will make you a better investor. Get all the details at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
I've been a Phil's Gang member since 2014. Over that time, I've generated over six-figure profits. Following Phil, his charting system has really been a huge impact on my career and my life. I would recommend Phil's Gang to the mom and pop out there. I would recommend it to parents teaching their children. I would recommend it to grandparents. If you really trust in their system, you will do well.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here. And it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
Did you know breast cancer kills 113 people every day? That's unacceptable.
African American women die from breast cancer nearly 41% more than Caucasian women.
That's unacceptable.
Breast cancer is the leading cause of all cancer deaths for Hispanic women.
Breast cancer is unacceptable.
Together with Susan G. Komen, we're committed to reducing U.S. breast cancer deaths by half.
And we're going to do it by 2026.
Visit Komen.org/unacceptable.
When making wise investment decisions, Phil Grandy has some sound reasons you should join Phil's Gang.
You know, when I started this, they asked me, okay, can you explain to people why they should join the gang? Gee, I thought about that. And I guess to make money. But more than that, to get good direction on which way the economy's really going. We get so much crap, so many lies, how great the economy is and how great the tech business is, and when it's not. The problem is we have too many people in Washington and in this industry that just don't tell the truth. The truth is everything. And here at Phil's Gang, we stick with the facts. We tell the truth. We make sure our members, are getting the best information, and our listeners, like you. We make that information available to you and make it simple and understandable.
Good investing means understanding how the stock market works. Join today at philsgang.com. Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Radio Show. Want to know more about Phil's Gang? Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
Welcome back to Phil's Gang. Now, if you go back to 2008 up to 2018, 10 years, take those 10 years, and then we had our first crash in 2018. Now, the same reason we had that 2018 crash, the same reason we had the COVID crash in 2020, February 2020, and the same reason we had the crash of about 24% from January 2022 to that infamous October low. So there's three crashes, 2018, 2020, and then the infamous October low that everybody thinks that's the end of it. Market's never going to go below that. For 10 years, all that money that they put into the market, the loosening of money, put all that liquidity in printing, and then telling the banks, take that money, get it out there. We need to open up this money, get the liquidity out there. Tremendous liquidity. Now, the crash that we're going in now, that we're going to start, I don't know when, I mean, the worst months are always July, August, September. That's why October ends up usually being the crash. But the reason we had that crash in 2018 and 2020 and the big one of 2022, and now we're rallying again, is because all the problems that we have now, starting with the regional bank failures, corporate debt. Now, these are problems we have now, but these were the same problems we had starting in 2018 that caused that crash, and the 2020 crash, and 2022 crash, and it's going to crash the rally we're in now. Why do you think we'd be so lucky that one happened? Because starting all the way back then, that first crash in 2018 is because the banks were getting weaker and weaker, especially the regional banks. Because remember, they weren't making much money because of the free money, for God's sakes. We had zero rates for all those years. And so they went out and bought a bunch of treasuries trying to make 1.5%. And then when the rates started to go up, they lost money. So the regional banks, we had at the same time all this corporate debt, because from 2008 up to 2018, the corporations were borrowing insane amount of money, historic debt, because it was free. Then all the corporate debt, the corporate defaults started. The commercial real estate started to default. The yield curve, that was the one. We started to see that happen. Now, but what happened then in each one of those rallies, what would we hear? Instead of the truth saying, wait, we better have a recession to pull this liquidity out of the market, we're going to be in trouble. And remember, at the same time, our industrial production right now, we're in the biggest drop since December 2022. But that was happening or starting in our first crash of 2018, and they got worse towards our second crash 2020, got worse towards our third crash of 2022, and now it's insane. So now so all these problems were already in this market. It never changed. We had back then, same thing. New York Empire Manufacturing was weakening. Philly was weakening. The Dallas manufacturing was weakening. The savings, okay, the only time we had big savings was during COVID. But up to 2018 and up to the COVID 2020, our savings was only about 8.5%. So we had all those, the same problems we got right now, we had back then starting, but they're really bad now. But see, nobody would tell you the truth. So here's what they would say. Every time the market started to pull back, they would mask the problems. Like right now, they're masking that 60% of our NASDAQ stocks have negative earnings. Only 18 of our 500 stocks. Think about this. We have 500 stocks in the S&P. Only 18 of the 500 gave us a 20% gain. Unbelievable. And our credit right now is really tightening. Okay? And then remember what happened. We started to see all this inflation coming in. So what people don't realize is every one of these three crashes we had, everything's the same. So everybody keeps saying, which I don't understand, they keep asking, well, we had that crash from January 2022 to that infamous low, October 2022. And now the market goes up and they say, well, how come the market's not going down? How come the market's not going? I said, well, it will, because we have the same problems. But here's why it gets a delay. Because every time the market goes down, you start getting this. This goes back to October of 2021. That was before the crash, the big crash, we went from January 2022 down to that infamous October low. So here's what Pisani said then. I mean, Kudlow said this. Even Kudlow got in on the deal.
Another new record for the Dow and the S&P 500. The economy is booming, and that's a very good thing. Stocks are going up, home prices are going up, people are happier. I just know they are. They tell me that when I see them on the streets and in the restaurants.
That's Greenspout. So think of what he said that. He said that in October of 2021. Now remember, from March of 2020 up to January 2022, remember he said that in 2021, the only reason why we had the rally, because they brought rates back to zero. If they didn't bring rates back to zero, we wouldn't have that rally. To keep masking all these problems, this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. Instead of telling you the truth, this is what they're doing. Get back.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. With the philsgang.com membership, we bring investors right to the floor, into the pits with Phil's daily live webinar classroom. Get inside market guidance on investing strategies. Find out more at philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Don't have time to analyze and study stocks? At philsgang.com, we recognize that there are all types of investors, and we also recognize that your time is valuable. So we offer investing programs for all individuals. We offer investing programs for long-term and short-term positions. And philsgang.com provides quick and easy to understand investing videos that only take a few minutes to watch. With the philsgang.com investing programs, you will learn technical stock charting, how to execute your trades, and most importantly, you will gain the confidence to know when to get out of a stock and take profits. Sign up at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or give them a call, 877-600-GANG.
I believe that every single human being with a laptop computer and an internet connection should be required to give trading at least a shot.
Following Phil, his charting system has really been a huge impact on my career and my life.
I believe that every educated individual on planet Earth.
I would recommend Phil's Gang to the mom and pop out there. I would recommend it to parents teaching their children. I would recommend it to grandparents.
Should do this. It's not for every single human being on Earth. I know this, but it's one of those things that you should try, because if you happen to get it right, if you happen to be one of the ones that this is for.
Follow the money. Follow Phil Grandy.
Oh my God.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. That's right, philsgang.com. Join my gang for 10 days. It's free.
What's in front of you is a life of incredible joy, freedom, and independence.
Want the truth when investing in the stock market? Here's how.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. Listen to my radio show every day, because that's where you're going to get the truth. You're not going to get the truth listening to these dopes on Fake Business News Network. The other day, Kramer said, don't listen to the banks. They're giving you wrong information. When he told you to buy Merrill Lynch, remember? And what happened? They went broke.
Get the truth at philsgang.com.
Join my gang, philsgang.com. Get the truth. And also listen to me on my podcast on YouTube and Rumble. That's philsgang.com.
You can be a successful investor in the stock market by knowing what the market is going to do.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. God, you go nuts listening to these shows on TV, Kramer, any of them. I mean, they're giving you total garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. One day they tell you, buy this stock. Next day, don't buy this stock. Then you have two people on their show. One guy saying buy it, the other guy says don't buy it. So the question is, what the hell do you do? Well, we don't have questions here at Phil's Gang. And they never have to ask the question, what do you think the market's going to do? My members always know what the market's going to do, because they've learned how to follow the money. That's right, follow the money. You don't follow fundamentals, you follow the money. And what is that? That's volume. That's the buyers and the sellers. And the other thing, you got to learn how to sell a stock as well as buy a stock.
Follow the money. Follow Phil Grandy.
Check it out, philsgang.com. Go to my podcast, YouTube, and Rumble every day. That's philsgang.com.
If you want to invest your money and grow your wealth, just listen to Phil Grandy.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. There's many reasons to listen to a radio show, but I think to listen to my show, you get the truth, you get clarity, and you get great information.
No matter what level of investor you are, Phil's Gang strategies for investing are designed to put you on the path to success.
You know what? Most of all, it's fun. philsgang.com. Clarity, good information, and fun.
When you listen to the advice of Phil Grandy at philsgang.com, you'll find investing in the stock market makes sense with the right guidance.
People keep saying to me, boy, things are hard. Things are tough. Boy, the market's really screwed up. And I don't agree with them. For us here at Phil's Gang, we make it so it's simple. It doesn't matter if the market's bad or good. We consistently do well because we make it simple. And just like for my listeners on the radio or on the internet or my podcast, we make it simple. We try to break it down so you really understand why the market is going up or why there's continued inflation or why the bank rates are going up. So you understand, especially yields. The most important thing to understand how yields work. Just what we do. We work hard at it.
Trusted advice, easy to understand strategies that will make you a better investor. Get all the details at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Welcome back. Learn, invest, and make profits with Phil Grandy. Simply go to philsgang.com. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. So I'm getting emails. They're asking, why is the market going down? Why is the market going down? I'm going to tell you why, or you should listen why. Here's why the market's going down, right here.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average is now riding a 12-day win streak, its longest in more than 6 years.
That was yesterday, then this morning.
Stocks ended mostly lower on this Wednesday, though the Dow did extend a monstrous 12-day win streak to 13 straight days of gains. This is the longest win streak since 1987.
And when the big institutions hear that, what do? They sell into the rally. They're smart. They sell into the rally. 85% of the people are getting into the market because they heard that. When Pisani says that, okay, and he's doing that on purpose, obviously, okay, because he's trying to pump this market up and make it sustainable. But the pros, the institutions go, man, I'm going to sell into this because this is not a sustainable rally. And then you got a whole bunch of people that got in here yesterday, this week at the highs. How can you have a sustainable rally? They don't tell you the truth. So think about it. Pisani will come out and say, things are great, positive, a 12-day rally, but yeah, we have the worst twin deficits, the worst industrial production. We have the New York Empire manufacturing, that's negative. Philly, Dallas, all negative. Lowest savings since 2009. Highest interest rates in 25 years. Highest inflation in 40 years. Home values are dropping by 18% from its peak in 2022. What are you, all nuts? 60% of the NASDAQ stocks have negative earnings. 60. Only 18 of 500 stocks contribute to a 20% gain in the S&P. Banking credit is starting to tighten. That will cause a new crisis that's another reason why the big boys are taking credits, because they're tightening now. And that's going to cause a crisis for the big banks. See, the big banks were doing okay because the small banks, when they're going under, all those people are jumping for small banks, saying, I'm going to go and deposit my money in banks that are too big to fail. Now, the big banks, the too big failed banks, they're in trouble now because what's happening to them is they got to start putting a lot of money, set aside a lot of money for bad loans and commercial loans and all kinds of other loans. We got big defaults coming, okay? Because the more you keep raising rates, the more defaults. And especially the corporate defaults are huge. But you're not going to hear that. You're not going to hear that. All you're going to hear is, we got a soft landing, no recession, everything's great. We're up 12 days in a row. Then why did the big institutions sell today? And don't forget, okay, we got some real problems with productivity and manufacturing. But the real worry is these banks now, okay? Two big worries why this market's going to crash. And again, just understand this. We've had 3 crashes since 2018. 3. And each one of those crashes, the problems that we're having today caused those 3 crashes in 2018, 2022, and it's going to cause the crash in the rally we're in now. Let me ask you, how do you think we're going to escape a crash in the rally that we're in now when the problems that we have now are the same, bigger? I mean, we still had the same problem with the regional banks. We still had the same problem of rates going up. We still have the same manufacturing problems. We have the biggest problems is the corporations, right? They're just dying. They're in debt. So if anyone's sitting there going, well, this rally's different than the crash in 2018, 2020, the crash in 2022, are you nuts? That's why you got to learn to sell short. Now remember, as I always tell everybody, you hear me every day say, and they say, well, you're negative. Yeah, I am. Because I see what's going on. I see what's going on. Especially when you start tightening credit, the biggest problem is going to be the big banks. They're going to start having big problems. Home sale construction's peaked now. New and existing home sales have dropped to 20%. Construction spending is declining. We have a big increase in loan defaults, both corporate debt and commercial debt. But we're having that in 2018, 2020, and 2022 that started all those crashes. But nobody wants to believe it. Because why? Because all we keep hearing is everything's so great. Everything's wonderful. That we're starting to feel the Bidenomics.
With President Biden's investment in America serving as a wind in the sails of the economy.
Wow. And they hear this.
The bottom line is the economy is doing better. Disinflation is happening. Soft landing is coming in division. All of that is good news.
Well, they said the same thing during that 114% rally between March of 2020, right after the COVID crash. Remember, they dropped rates to 0, up to 2022. But people won't want to accept. The only reason why the rally went up, what is the difference between the crash, the COVID crash? Remember, the COVID crash happened because they moved rates up. The 2018 crash and the 2020 crash, why did those both happen? Because they moved rates from 0 to 2.25 to 2.50. That's why they both collapsed. It had nothing to do with COVID. And then when they dropped rates to 0, right after the COVID crash, as we'll call it, March of 2020, we had a 114% rally. Was it because earnings were good? Did things turn around? Were things getting better? No, things were getting worse. But the only reason why it rallied, because interest rates were at 0, you could give the money to the CEOs. It didn't cost them a thing. They bought their own stock, reduced their own shares, and then the earnings went up, fake, and it pushed up the profits that were the stocks that were fake. You remember that when they reduced their own shares, that moves their earnings up, without having good earnings. And when you move when your earnings go up, it pushes up your profit, pushes up your stock. But it'll do it anyways, even if you don't have good earnings, you don't have profits. Because these are growth stocks, and people accept that. So they accepted, here, CEO, here's a bunch of money. Go, you got 1 million outstanding shares, and your stock's at $15. I'll tell you what, you got 1 million outstanding shares here. We're going to give you all this money. Go in and reduce that 1 million shares now down to 800,000 shares. And what happens? The stock goes from 15 to 20. Well, what usually moves the stock from 15 to 20? Earnings. Increased earnings, increased profits. But no, the stock went from 15 to 20, not because of increased earnings and increased profits. It went because he reduced his outstanding shares from 1 million shares to 800,000 shares. That artificially pushed up earnings, which they didn't have, artificially pushed up profits they didn't have, and it pushed the stock from 15 to 20. And so you had that going on from 2020 all the way up to 2022 at 114% rally. And then when it was over, what happened? It crashed. So here we are now. We're up about 20%. And nobody believes the market's going to crash. I would just like someone to convince me that it's different now than it was in 2018 and 2020. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You know, why would you think that the fake Business News Network people are any more trustworthy than the people in Washington? Listen to this. This is that blinky eyes, Jean-Pierre. Look how she lied.
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings.
Okay. Remember when he said that? Now, they're asking her, why did he change his story? Now,
So I just want to clear this up once and for all. The president has previously said that he has never discussed overseas business dealings with his son, but the White House now says that the president has never been in business.
oh my God. So they're now changing their statements, right? So why do you think we're so lucky?
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Good investing means understanding how the stock market works.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy at philsgang.com. You know, if you really want to make sense of this market, you can't be listening to the fake Business News Network. They will not tell you the truth. They're to get you excited, to make sure you go out and you're happy so you'll buy something. That's not what we do here at Phil's Gang. We give you the truth, the direction, and that's what you need. Listen to me on my radio show each day and also on my Rumble and YouTube channel podcast. philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
If you want to invest your money and grow your wealth, just listen to Phil Grandy.
Hi, I'm Phil Grandy, philsgang.com. There's many reasons to listen to a radio show, but I think to listen to my show, you get the truth, you get clarity, and you get great information.
No matter what level of investor you are, Phil's Gang strategies for investing are designed to put you on the path to success.
You know what? Most of all, it's fun. philsgang.com. Clarity, good information, and fun.
When making wise investment decisions, Phil Grandy has some sound reasons you should join Phil's Gang.
You know, when I started this, they asked me, okay, can you explain to people why they should join the gang? Gee, I thought about that. And I guess to make money. But more than that, to get good direction on which way the economy's really going. We get so much crap, so many lies, how great the economy is and how great the tech business is, and when it's not. The problem is we have too many people in Washington and in this industry that just don't tell the truth. The truth is everything. And here at Phil's Gang, we stick with the facts. We tell the truth. We make sure our members, are getting the best information, and our listeners, like you. We make that information available to you and make it simple and understandable.
Good investing means understanding how the stock market works. Join today at philsgang.com.
Short on time but want to invest in the stock market? Let philsgang.com help you. For only $39.95 a month, you get complete access to all of Phil's powerful investing programs, videos, and resources.
That works for me. Log in, watch the videos, and make profits.
Find out more at philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. philsgang.com.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here. And it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
What, are you nuts? If the stock market can make you so rich, especially Apple and Microsoft and Google and Amazon and the rest, why are so many Americans poor? If the 401k promises you a retirement then why is it we are in a retirement crisis? Here's the answer. Because 85% of you get out of the market too late. I fixed that with my color-coded chart, which tells you when to buy, when to sell, and when to get out. That's right, when to run like hell. Check it out. You get a free membership and the free color-coded chart for 10 days. Check it out, philsgang.com.
Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Radio Show. Want to know more about Phil's Gang? Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
So I just want to clear this up once and for all. The president has previously said that he has never discussed overseas business dealings with his son, but the White House now says that the president has never been in business with his son. So why the updated language? Which statement is true? Or is this semantics and they're both true?
As I stated on Monday, when I was asked this question multiple times, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed on this. Nothing has changed on this. And so could ask me a million different ways on this.
God, you see how she lied? So my point is, why do you think the fake business network's going to be truthful to you? They're not. And here's what I liked about this one. You notice the guy tried to give her out. She said, the reporter tried to give her a hand. Said, well, are both true? How could both be true? But anyways, let's get back to these stocks. So if, just using your common sense, if you take the three crashes that we've had, okay, 2018, 2020, and 2022, they all crashed for the same reason. Now here we are in 2023. We're in this rally now, about 20%. But we have the same exact problems, but worse today than back in 2018, 2020, and 2022. The same exact problems, but just multiplied, just worse. So I don't know how anyone can say, well, we're going to have a soft landing and there's not going to be another crash, there's not going to be a recession. That's insane. So here's what they do. They convince you, they try to convince you, where the plunger team, the president, the head of the SEC, the head of the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, the head of Treasury, and the Fed chair, they all meet. This is how they do it. It's called the plunger team. And every night, just before the market closes, usually about a minute and a half before it closes, what they'll do is they'll come in and they'll buy index futures. So the market will close and be up just fractionally, so that the next day he can keep adding on.
Stocks ended mostly lower on this Wednesday, though the Dow did extend a monstrous 12-day win streak to 13 straight days of gains. This is the longest win streak since 1987.
So what? Doesn't matter. But people only hear, oh, that's the 13 days the market's been going, I got to get in today. And that's when they get killed. And remember, they did that all the way through. Remember, they had, I think, what was it, 62... between 2020, March 2020, and January 2022. In October, I think it was 2020, when the market started to pull back and they got scared. So they came in, the plunger team, and I think it was like 32 or 62 times, and they did the same thing in a row. The Dow made a new high. I think it was 32 times in a row. New high, 32 times. How do they do that? They just simply go and buy futures. That's all. And then what happened? After it rallied and got up to its 114%, it crashed. So it was 33 times. Okay, 33 times in a row, that's all you would hear. And then Pisani brought in a big gun, Kudlow. How people are happy, economy's booming, when it's not. Because when an economy is doing poorly, okay, and the market's going to crash, it's always the same things that take a market down, okay? It's always the same thing. It's too much money in the system. They didn't do a recession to pull it out, so you got too much liquidity. That means people are still buying stuff, and worse, the government keeps buying stuff, and then they're making these stupid investments, debt's going up. That's one thing that continues. You got to pull that liquidity out. Got to pull that liquidity out. And then the next thing that starts happening is you start having all your durable goods orders. They start diminishing, because durable goods orders are very, very important, because that's discretionary money. That means that people, what really grows the economy is when a person gets a paycheck, he pays his taxes, now he's got a net check, and then he pays all his bills, and now he's got a bunch of money left. And now he goes and he buys appliances or any big item called durable goods, furniture. That really means you got a good economy going. We didn't have that in 2018. We didn't have that when that crash happened. We didn't have it in 2020. But even though we didn't have it in 2020, the market went up 114% because of zero rates. But what was still accumulating was the highest Fed rate in 25 years, the highest inflation in 40 years, the highest debt and deficits and trade deficits, negative earnings, okay? So all those things were happening. We had, again, industrial production was starting to fall apart. So all the things today, whether it was the New York Empire, the Philly manufacturing, the Dallas manufacturing, savings, everything was negative in 2018. It's still negative today. It's just in 2018 it was a lot less. And the biggest problem is, again, is the amount of dollars being left in the system. And now you got the regional banks going down. And with the regional banks collapsing, now you're going to see, and as I said, with the regional banks collapsing, now that's going to roll over into the big banks. It's going to roll over to the big banks, because now with all they're being forced to tighten money, a lot of their money can't go, they can't lend it out, and then they're going to have all these defaults. So everything, the tightening, the earnings decline, the economy's worsening, all that was happening. Construction spending was declining, and same thing in 2018, 2020, and 2022. Corporate debt was worsening, commercial debt was worsening. So you see how it works? But they need a cheerleader. So as long as they can sit there and lie to you and then convince you that everything's okay, as long as the market's going up, everything's okay, then this is why 80% of people lose money, because they're not prepared when the market starts going the other way to sell it short. And that's what we're here for. Okay, that's what we're here for. If you can join our gang, it's free for 10 days. And myself and Steve and Willie, we're here to help you. In 10 days, even if you don't stay with us after 10 days, you're going to understand what makes a market collapse. What is it that makes a market collapse? And like today, what is relative strength? So like today, we go through our stocks. Here, I think I got enough time here. So I'm going to go through my stocks. So here's my stocks. So I'm going to go through my Microsoft, okay? But Microsoft is dropping, okay? All right. And so that's dropping. So I'm going to try to find out of my stocks which ones aren't dropping. That's called the relative strength. JP Morgan, we're doing really well on JP Morgan. It's not dropping. So now that stock is very important to me because it has relative strength. It's stronger relative to the market and relative to the other stocks. Now I'm going to take a look at my Goldman Sachs. Same thing. So now I got two stocks, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, that have relative strength. That's a big help. How about Citi? That's relative strength. So you see what's going on. So we're starting to see Morgan Stanley has relative strength. So the banks is where the big institutions are going to stay. They're staying there at the banks, okay? Because they know that if rates continue to go up, banks do well when interest rates go up. We know there's going to be more. They're going to spend more and more money in Washington. We know they're going to have deficits. We know they're going to have inflation because of the deficits, and they're going to have to raise rates, and that means the dollar's going to come down, okay? So, again, so you got the institutions now today, they're rotating, right? They're rotating back to the banks. They're rotating. Now, I don't think the banks are going to last. I think the banks are going to crash. There's not going to be any place to hide. But we've been in these banks for a long, long time, okay? And same thing if you go to our oil stocks, all right? If you look at our oil stocks like USO, great relative strength. We're doing great with USO. And how about our Schlumberger? Relative strength, we're doing great. So now all of our oil stocks, Schlumberger, Baker, MRO, a refiner, that's really done well today. MRO, Conoco, all the money that we have in our oil stocks and all the money we have in our bank stocks, we can see that's where the strength is. So we'll be guiding our gang members into those stocks again tomorrow. This is what we do. So why don't you check it out? And it's 10 days free, and you'll meet myself and Steve and Willie, Autumn, and we'll have, again, it's fun, and you're going to finally learn how to market work.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grandy, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.